What's up guys, Dave here, TMG. Today we have a not so fun project. We have to do an alternator on the Mini. And that alternator is way under there. So, multiple different ways supposedly to do this. You could put the front end in service mode, pull this all apart, and supposedly it'll come out through the top. Or you can go from the bottom, pull the air conditioning out, disconnect all the AC lines, drop the compressor out, and pull all the air out that way. I'm going to try something different myself. Since this is my car, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to remove the turbocharged pipe. So there's a clamp down there. There's a clamp right there. And I'm going to move that charge pipe out of the way. Headlight has to come out regardless, so I'm going to pull the headlight out. Then I have to go from underneath. I gotta pull the wheel. I've got to jack the vehicle up, put it on a jack stand. That way I can put my jack under the oil pan and lift the motor bit, because the motor mount has to be detached. That nut right there releases the motor mount from the engine, so I can lift the engine up and down. And then I have to, right here, this is the belt tensioner. I am going to remove the belt tensioner. I'm actually going to remove it from the vehicle. And then when this headlight's gone, I'm going to try and snake the alternator through there. So that's my idea. We'll see if it works. If not, I'll probably have like an hour and a half of fucking around for nothing. But if I can, one, save multiple hours of excess work that doesn't need to be done, I'm going to do it. And two, if I don't have to pull the AC lines off, so I don't have to go and have the vehicle recharged, because that's like another $175 that I really don't want to spend if I don't have to, I'm going to do all I can to save some money. So alternators are on order. They will be here later today. So let's get cracking at it. This is going to be in pieces. I'm not going to leave the thing running for the next 4 hours. So as I get things apart, I'll kind of show you the process, what we're doing, or what I'm doing. And hopefully this helps you if it works. Hopefully it helps you save time the next time you need to do an alternator. All right, guys, so here is where we're at right now. So wheel is off. Wheel liner's pulled back. Headlight is out. Serpentine belt is off. I removed the intercooler pipe. Yes, there's oil in there. So the intercooler pipe's there. One clamp on the bottom, one clamp at the top. It's bolted right here. And then once you get that out, you kind of pull it back and out. So I took the belt tensioner out. Belt tensioner is right there. Serpentine belt needs to be replaced, but that's fine. We do it anyways. Now, I don't have the motor jacked up at the moment. I have the two upper bolts are the tensioner bolts. Those tensioner bolts are what hold the alternator in place. As far as the lower alternator bolt, I went this way and used a wrench. And let me show you how that worked. All right. So the bolt for that alternator is right here. If you can see that, I put a wrench on it, just like so, and I'm able to work it out this way. So once we get that loose, we're gonna come in here and we're gonna unthread it by hand. Now it's probably gonna hit this AC line, but that's all right. I'm gonna just move the AC line out of the way. I'm not gonna disconnect it if I don't have to. But yeah, so that's where we're at. By the way, all these inverted torques, all can be done with a 5/16 American wrench. So I know some people don't like that, but it's true. It is true, and it actually works very well, because a lot of these bolts are not all that tight. Like I said, I was able to break it off with this little 4-inch wrench. And then the top ones came off with a socket and a 1/4 inch ratchet. So It's just a little bit of finagling right now, but I'm going to get this bolt out. And then from there, I'm going to try and get the alternator out. I did disconnect the negative side of the battery. Once I get this out, if I get out this way like I'm hoping, so I hope it's going to snake up through there, I will update you guys, so stay tuned. All right, alternator is out. So, after I got that bottom bolt out, took me a little bit of thinking here, but here's what I ended up doing. Remove these. Actually, those are already removed. So is this because the upper line. But I ended up taking these two bolts out. I took these two out. And I took those two out. And that gave this some flex. I was able to go down there. I had to take the dipstick out. And I had to take the oil pressure sensor, oil pressure switch. So, very simple. One bolt, that whole thing popped right out. This one has two bolts on it. Actually, nope, just one. I took another one out for no reason. And that popped out. Once I did that, I was able to rotate the alternator, come up here, move this out of the way a little bit, and pull the alternator straight out. It actually wasn't that bad. I started at 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. It's now 10:37. So I have about an hour and a half right now into this. So going in reverse, the biggest thing is going to be getting the new alternator in. Once I get it in, lined up, and get the bolts in, then I'll put the dipstick and the oil pressure switch. Actually, I'll put the oil pressure switch in first, then the dipstick. Then after that, oh yeah, I had to loosen this bolt a little bit too, because the bolt stuck out a little bit. Once I pulled it up a little bit and made it a little more room, the alternator came out. But anyway, so that's really, it's just a little time. Didn't have to take the bumper off. Did take the headlight off. Honestly, I probably spent a half hour dicking with this fender liner. So, I mean, I got maybe an hour actually into the job so far, besides the fender liner. So, I'll update you guys as I get back together. All right, so we have completed this job. So, intercooler pipes back on, sensors plugged in, all sensors plugged in, tensioners on, alternators in. Now, the time for truth. See if it fires up. All right. Ugh. And that's a good sign. And so is that. Yep, everything's got to be reset because the battery was off. All right, so we're gonna let it run for a moment. All right, headlights are on because I keep my headlights on all the time. Idle's finally starting to go down. I'll put my tools away from my wheels. Let's see what the dash says now. So all in all, guys, this took me right about, and no battery stuff. That's good. Let me turn the AC on, because I noticed yesterday when I was having this alternator issue, the AC was suffering. So anyways, all in all, guys, I got maybe 3 hours wrapped into this. And I'll be honest, the very first half hour was just taking the wheel well liner, the wheel liner apart. But other than that, it was way easier. There's not a lot of information online, and what I've read didn't give me much hope in thinking it was going to be able to be done. But I took a little time last night to look it over, did a little measuring with my hand, trying to figure out what I could do. And yeah, guys, it's way simple to do it that way. The best thing I recommend is just take your time. Don't be in a hurry. Give yourself some time. Like, I started this at 9 in the morning. I think it was like right at 9 in the morning, 8:45, something like that. And it's now, I think it's like 1:15. But I did end up having to wait like an hour and a half or more for Napa to get my alternator to me after the job, after I had already pulled it out. So, like I said, I probably have 3 hours, and the car's drivable right now. So I'm gonna fix all my, you know, clock and presets and all that stuff, and then I'm gonna take it for a drive. But after I wash my hands and everything. But yeah, so one more time, I'm gonna go through this with you guys here. All right, so what I did, step by step, was jack up the vehicle, put a jack stand under it on the passenger side, remove the wheel, remove all the fasteners from the fender liner, just from like midway and forward. So there's like 3 under here, and there's like a bunch of those little push pins with the threaded push pins on them in here. And then I just folded the liner back. I didn't undo the whole liner. You know, none of that crap needed to be done. I just folded it back all the way, put it behind the brake. Okay. Then I came up here. I removed the driver's or passenger side headlight. I removed the grill, which this is just 1, 2. You would have 3, but that's broken. So 4. Grill came off. Set that aside. Headlight. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pulled the headlight out. And then I came up here and I removed both of those. This, which is actually attached to the intercooler pipe, I removed. That was already gone. I removed this one. I removed these 2, but I did not like play with the latch. And that's all I removed, guys. Oh, sorry. I did remove these 2 also. So right there and right there. I think I dropped this other screw, so I used that one. But yeah, I removed those 2. I did not remove any from this side. And the only reason I removed these is it gave me some room to pull that away. And then when I got in here, I disconnected this clamp, removed that sensor, just unplugged it. And then I went underneath the vehicle, way down there. You can see it right under the vehicle. There's a clamp. Loosen that completely up. That's where the hose connects to the intercooler. And then I came up here. And once I slipped this out of the plastic coupler there, I was able literally to just pull it up and out. That was so nice getting that out of the way. Once I did that, I removed that 18mm nut. That is what holds the engine mount to the motor. Then I grabbed my jack with a piece of wood on it. I slid it under the oil pan and lifted up on the oil pan just enough to get it high enough to where, so right here is your belt tensioner, right here. There's a 30mm like hex head on the end of it. That's what you use to pull the tensioner. You'll access it from over here. So I had the 30mm socket, a 3-inch extension, and a breaker bar. You hook it on there, you pull, and as you're pulling, you push on this little screw right here. That little screw locks that tensioner in place. Once that's done, I removed the dipstick. Right here's a bolt. You take that out, the whole dipstick and tube comes out. I removed the oil pressure switch. There's a bolt under it. The switch comes out. Take the 2 bolts out the top here. That removes the tensioner and 2 bolts from the alternator. And then on the bottom is that one I showed you with the little wrench, where I had to move the AC line out of the way. Like I just bent it, but I got a 5/16 inch wrench in there and just, it was a ratchet wrench. So I just sat there and slowly loosened that up, got that bolt out. And then I came up here and I pulled the alternator out. Now, I should say, battery needs to be disconnected. At least the negative side needs to be disconnected before you do this. And there is a nut on the alternator for the 1 wire and a clip. Those will have to come off. But then I just pulled that up right through here. I took the alternator, I kind of turned it, and by pulling this back some, I was able to wedge the alternator right out. The new alternator, dropped it back down in there. The hardest part about this was that AC line right there. Speaking of which, I have to hook that back up. The bracket for it. The bracket goes right there. So I hooked that back up. But that AC line, I had to get that bent out of the way a little bit to get the alternator drop back in there easy enough. Once I got in there, I took 1 bolt from the top and started threading in just to get it situated. But you can't put it all the way in because those 2 bolts, remember, have to go through the tensioner first. So once I got the 1 bolt in there to get it like basically set in place, I went down below, I tightened up the lower bolt, then I came back up, I took that upper bolt back out, I set the tensioner in there, I put the 2 bolts in, tightened them down, I then put the belt on, I then pushed the idler pulley back into place, tighten that down, and then I came back up here and I used that 30mm socket again. And when you pull on that the next time, that screw will automatically pop out. And then you just let go of it, and that belt, that tensioner, tensions the belt. And then I just put everything back together. So I make it sound real easy. I showed you a few things of how I did it, but seriously, guys, it took me, like I said, maybe 3 hours in and out, you know, not including wait time for Napa, but I mean, as far as the work itself, I got about 3 hours invested in it, and we're good to go. I gotta screw that back on real quick, that AC line, and then we're all set. So thanks again, guys. Appreciate you swinging by. If you have any questions, by any means, please reach out. I will gladly help. It was super simple. I will walk you through it if I have to, step by step. It really isn't that big of a deal, but you can do it with a few basic tools. You know, 1/4 inch helps in sometimes, but if you got 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch, you got 5/16, you don't even need the inverted Torx. The 5/16 will work just well. And then, you know, some pliers and some patience. And that's the biggest thing, guys. So take care. Thanks again. I appreciate it. I'm gonna try and edit this video all together for you guys, but that's how it worked. So I'll update you guys if anything changes, but looks like it's good to go. You guys be safe, have fun, and get out there and do that work. See ya.